Hello and welcome back to Gaming Views. If you haven't slept in a week, you're either a new parent or, like us, you were trying to keep up with the latest gaming showcases. Yes, this week we've had more announcements than the London Underground. The world's eyes were glued to Japan for the Tokyo Game Show, which delivered major reveals like Forza Horizon 6 taking us to the neon streets of Japan, and Sony countering with their state of play, finally unleashing the blood and claws on the Wolverine game. It's been a non-stop barrage of trailers, release dates and surprise ports. So grab your favourite snack, try to remember which of the 50 new JRPGs you actually want to play. It's been a long week with console war fought exclusively with trailer drops. So let's try to make sense of the glorious chaos that was the week in gaming news. Dan with a gaming flair, pixel dreams and worlds to share, joystick tales and button cues. Welcome to Gaming Views. Hi, I'm Dan H, and I'm thrilled to be here with my co-host, the only man I know who can write a full-length essay on the structural integrity of the Mass Effect dialogue wheel option. He's a walking encyclopedia of gaming knowledge, which is why we keep him around. Besides, he's much cheaper than subscribing to 3 different video game news services. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Danny P. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Well, do you want the truthful answer? Or
I want honesty on this podcast. God damn it! There's too many people out there spreading lies.
The honesty is that introduction is the best thing that's happened to me, I think, in the last 4 days.
I feel so sad for you, man.
Yeah. But that was a lovely introduction.
Tell the masses.
Sorry, but on the Mass Effect dialogue wheel, well, the interesting thing about...
No, fucking hell, no. I should have never done that then.
No. I want to say I'm all right, but I mean, you know the story and a few other people did, but I was working from home and last week, and you were also working from home, and seeing as you live close by, I said, do you want to go for a walk? And you said yes. So you messaged me, said I'm on my way. I went down my stairs like one normally does. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but I'm going to guess I thought I was at the bottom of the stairs when I was around 4 steps off it. And I led, obviously I must have led with my right foot. I fell down, and all you get, it is still a blur. I mean, the nurse at the hospital asked me what happened. I said, I don't know, right? I said, everything just went blurry. I felt so much pain in my right ankle. I fell forward into our shoe rack, which I'm glad I did because I grabbed hold of it, and I think that's the only thing that stopped me headbutting the front door. And God. The funny thing was, my wife was asleep because she wasn't feeling too good, and that's why I said to her, let me know when you're on your way. But I had to shout up to her. I couldn't get up with her. She was telling me, get up. And I said, I can't. And then you come to the door. And I can't remember. Was I on the package and fucked off? Yeah, I think I was on the stairs at the time. I couldn't remember if I was sprawled on the floor. And I was thinking, just get me on the stairs when Dad gets here. And
I did offer to help, in fairness. I didn't abandon you.
No, you did. Yeah. I mean, luckily, I've had it x-rayed. It's not broken, severely sprained, and I've got one of those.
Sprained.
But yeah, you've seen the pictures.
You've got a cankle.
Yeah. Maybe we should add that to the B-roll this week.
People will switch off, mate.
Yeah, but honestly, I thought, oh God, it was in agony, and I'm so amazed how I didn't break it. But then I had to stand for an hour in the hospital because I didn't know which bit to the hospital to go to, because I went to A&E first, and they said, well, you can't come here unless you hit your head. I said, well, I don't know what I have or haven't hit. The irony was, because I was going for my ankle, but I'm now thinking, did I hit my head? And then they said, oh, you got to go to the urgent treatment centre, which we thought, we went to the bit that was called the treatment centre, but no, that's not the urgent treatment centre. That's further around. And the only way to get there,
to make it easy for you, don't they?
Was to walk, which I couldn't do. So, and then sorry, quickly, without going on too long about this, the sad week of Dan P. So last night I went to, I was really happy. I was going to make myself a nice cheese toastie as a little pick-me-up. And then I opened a cupboard that's at head height, and we've got one of these little space-saving shelves within the cupboard.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Must have slipped forward, because when I opened the door, all our porcelain, like the breakfast bowls, decided to fall out, hit me, hit my bad ankle, and also shatter everywhere. Oh, literally, man. The noise it made, and spread across the whole living room. The impact was incredible because we were still finding bits, well, I'll say we, my wife, then it took her 3 hours to clean up because I couldn't bend, I couldn't do anything. So I had to watch
you are
her.
cursed.
So I'm not allowed to do anything.
But you know what they say about bad things?
Yeah, they don't. No, they don't. So moving on, how's you?
Okay, I'm keeping everything crossed for you, buddy.
How's you?
I'm good. I am, as you can hear, I'm a little bit throaty, and for once, it's not due to illness. I spent far too many hours last night singing my heart out to the mighty Oasis at Wembley. So yeah, I've got a bit of neck strain and I've got a bit of throat strain. I should have taken honey and lemon. I didn't warm up. All right, that's what it was. I should have warmed up with my vocals before I went on stage. I didn't. So yeah, but other than that, I'm very good. Yeah. It was an amazing night. I'm a bit sleepy and tired. So this show's either going to go really, really well or catastrophically poorly. And judging from the opening, it's probably going to be the latter. So enjoy, people.
You're in tired. I'm in pain. There we go. That's a double act, isn't it?
Gonna love this one. Yeah. But today we are going to cover bit of news and then we're going to crack on with the award show. Award shows? Jesus, I'm at it already. Right, not the award shows. The announcement shows from Microsoft.
Have we won?
TGS.
That's all I want to know. Did we win?
Yeah. No, we did win. We won Podcasters of the Year who were shit at their job. And then we're going to do Sony State of Play. So let's crack on with the norm. Dan, have you been playing anything or just sitting in pain?
Sitting in pain. No, I've played a couple of games. I've continued Echoes of the End.
Has it got better?
Never remember if I am saying it right.
Yeah, you've got it right.
Really enjoying it, actually. Really enjoying it. The story's kind of, is a bit hit and miss, but the game, it's got some really clever puzzling elements and it really does layer it up. So even, I reckon I'm close to the end, because I think it's 10 chapters. I'm halfway through chapter 8 and you're still getting new tricks and skills.
I like that when they carry it all the way through.
Yeah,
that's my favourite bit of games. I do like that.
Yeah, and you pick up another companion you get along the way, and he's great. And the voice actor, it's just really good. And it's just a shame that it hasn't got that much attention, or not many people know about it. Because it's
until you mention it,
yeah,
I'd never even heard of it. But I did have a quick look at the trailer. It does look a bunch of fun. It's one of those kind of AA action games. It's kind of third-person action games that I really enjoy.
Yeah,
kind of God of War-esque, but God of War light, I guess. Because it's not a big blockbuster studio thing. But you mentioned last time, you said there was only one attack that you had. Is that expanded? Yeah.
Yeah, you've got 4 branches on a skill tree and one of them is about offense. So I've maxed that out. I'm probably still just doing the 2 main attacks, the heavy and the light.
Yeah.
But no, it's really good, really good. And, it caught me off guard with a funny thing, because you'll find treasure chests where it's just collectibles, right? So it's more just for XP. But there'll be a couple of times where she says something. I think, if I remember right, the character's called Rin. It's shortened. And she picks it up and she goes, it's like a rusty old ring or something,
Right.
Anyway, you forget about it. Then at one point, you'll see often like speech bubbles where if you press Y, the 2 characters will have a chat about the bit they're at. There was a question mark and I thought, is it buggered up, this game? And it was in an internal bit, sort of like in a volcano sort of bit. And she just goes like this. She kind of like drops her hand, does that. And I thought, what's going on in the game? Anyway, I walked off. And an achievement pops up, Lord of the Ring. So she dropped that ring into the lava.
Like a good old hobbit.
Yeah, and there's something. So when I was playing it the last time, you get another object. It goes, it's a mop. And I'm thinking, what's this mop going to be? Is it like Trigger? Is it an Only Fools and Horses reference?
Trigger's mop.
Yeah. So
for a minute.
Yeah, Echoes of the End. And I started playing Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is kind of like
that's
Castlevania.
Metroidvania thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that again, that's quite fun, very colourful, very bright. Yeah.
It's a few years old though, that one, isn't it now?
Yeah. Do you know what it was? I was going through my games. I was literally the installed games and thinking, what game have I had in here for ages that I haven't tried? And stuck that one on, and it's good fun.
Nice. I always kept meaning to give that a go because I did just like the old Castlevanias. But tell the masses what you've also done, something quite exciting, haven't you?
Yeah, bigger news in terms of gaming news. Yeah, I bought myself a Steam Deck.
Super exciting, man. Super exciting.
It's funny.
It's not there yet, but it's super exciting.
No, I haven't got it yet. It's funny because when was it? So it was Wednesday night. No, Tuesday night, I'd gone to bed. I'd seen the article saying the LCD, the base one, had been reduced. I thought, that's tempting. That's put it into my sweet spot potentially. I remember on the train the next day messaging you. He wasn't. I know we said we get the same train, but you weren't on the same train. You weren't next to me. No. You weren't next to me, and we weren't talking.
That'd be weird as well. Yeah, we were on the same train, but we're chatting on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I messaged you. Said, what do you think about the sort of like the base set Steam Deck? He said, "Oh, it's really good," but he said you ain't going to get it because you say you want to get a lot of things, and I thought he's right. And then that night, I was just thinking about it all day at work. You know, when you're just in a dream. And yeah, I bought it because I thought I'm not going to get the LIX. Yeah. You know, I'm not going to get the $1,300 Lenovo 2. You know, so I'm priced out of kind of these. And I thought I'm never going to get like a stonkingly expensive gaming PC. And I was thinking I really wanted to get the Atari Game Station Go, which we haven't mentioned on here. We won't necessarily go into it now. But I really like the idea of that. And with shipping from the States, that was going to be like £160. And I thought it makes no sense in why I wouldn't get the Steam Deck. So yeah, I went for it and I'm really excited.
Yeah, you should be. I think it's a fantastic kit. And particularly, you know, I think it's really suitable for you because your focus, you like playing through your back catalogue. And a lot of the Steam Deck's focus, it runs really well is some of those more... it does run retro really well, but also some of the slightly older titles, you know, a couple of years ago that you're still running through, and certainly, and even better, the stuff that tips up on Steam sales for pennies. Do you know what I mean?
Today,
and then you can build this. You build this big catalogue again. I think you're going to love it. I think you're absolutely going to love it. My nephew's got one and he loves it. I've always been tempted, but never did, and then I held off, and you know. So, but yeah, I'd love to see it, and we should absolutely hear your thoughts on it in a future episode and see.
Literally can't wait. The weird thing is, I bought a dock for it, which has already turned up. Nice. I've even bought myself a game for it, and I don't have it yet. I've been looking at the sales. I mean, you've gifted me a game. The lovely Joey has gifted me a couple of games, so thank you to you and him. And I'm looking at the sales, and I still don't even have it, but. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it because, like you said, for me, I think it's the perfect bit of kit for the kind of games I'm interested in. Like, I'll be able to now, all like the PlayStation Studio games there, like Spider-Man 1 and 2, Miles Morales, God of War Ragnarok. Never had a chance to play. So, yeah, can't wait.
Amazing. And you've got your docks, you can stick them on a big screen as well if you fancy.
Yeah, exactly.
Even better.
So what have you been playing, Dan?
I've done that hyper-focus thing where I can't get away from something, not because it's particularly brilliant. It's good, but I wouldn't say it's, you know, something that would not ordinarily capture me and but I've kind of gone into this place where every time I stick the Xbox on, it's just Borderlands 4 pops up and I'm like, I'll go on and have 10 more minutes.
Nothing wrong with that though.
No, I think, you know, I am enjoying. I always talk when I play games. I always talk about that hook. You know, what's the rotation of things that happen? And I do love a looter game. You know, whether it's Diablo or I think it's probably the first and foremost looter shooter, and it's probably the one that does it the best. Albeit, you know, it's had its dips and quality. I really enjoyed Tiny Tina's when it came out because I used to love D&D and you know the jokes and stuff in that. This one's a bit different. They've toned down the kind of humour. It's still there in parts. It's still funny in little bits and some of the quotes and stuff, but they've toned down a lot. Claptrap barely appears, which a lot of people would be grateful for because it can be very irritating. But actually, you know, the gameplay, the hook of the gameplay and the guns and the weapons and stuff and the, you know, finding out what each one does and, you know, looking for DPS and different strategies around damage for elemental damage and stuff. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm probably about 2/3 of the way through. The map is broken up into 3 sections, which you can traverse across in any order you like, really, where the 3 main quests are. And I've done the first 2, and there are also vaults that you can find aside from the main quest. And there's 3 of those, and I've done the first 2 of those as well. And they're okay. I think I was a bit disappointed while going through it. You know, the second one didn't drop any legendary spawn any legendary kit at all. So it was just like some random shit drops at the end boss. Yeah, you go through this massive boss fight and it's like, there's nothing there. And then you pick up a specific item that gives you a bit of a boost on one of your abilities, but it's not, you know, it's nothing amazing. But, you know, I'm just enjoying the hook and I'm loving the game. And like I said before about these random boss spawns and stuff you can go through. So yeah, I'm enjoying that, but I am also conscious I've got so much to get through. Not just review games, but also games I've gone and bought and not played. And, you know, so I do need to get out of the Borderlands 4 and, if Chronos flicks up, I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's so much more coming out, Outer Worlds 2 and all these other things. I'm just like, I'm dying like the beast. I've still got to play, and it's all these other things I really need to get on with. But yeah,
I think though that's what you've sometimes just got to do, because I sort of decided I wanted to play a new game, and I'd recently bought Echoes of the End because it was on the Xbox sales, and I thought, no, do you know what? I'm going to play that, because otherwise, when am I going to, it's going to sit there, and I've just bought it to play it. And then I did the same thing. I thought, right, well, what else have I currently got installed? That doesn't take into account all the ones I haven't played that I've had to uninstall to make way for games that I've just bought to install. And yeah, but it's funny. There's nothing wrong. If there's a game that hooks you, like Borderlands will probably keep you going for weeks, right? With the content. I
think so. And there's Endgame, and then at the full TGS, they just announced, the next, Vault Hunter that they're going to show that drops in early 26 with the new DLC. So I didn't buy that edition actually. But it is the first time on the Borderlands that I've been tempted to buy the DLC, because I love a good Western styled character, with a Stetson and card throwing abilities and stuff. So that's been me basically, and then just trying to get the house sorted and going to Oasis. I haven't really played much, which is terrible.
Make it up next week.
Yes, I will make it up. I'll tell you what I did play. Here's a lie. I did play a couple of hours of one of the games that's coming up for review. That shooty robot.
That looks fun.
It's a bunch of fun, but I'll tell you something about it. I won't include it in the review, but I started playing it and I got very frustrated because I couldn't find any option to use a controller, and I haven't used WASD and a mouse for years.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I was playing WASD and a mouse, and there's no invert controller. So that wound me up as well, because I'm an inverter. I literally had to retrain my brain to play this game. Which frustrated me. And then my wife called me or something. I paused it and went downstairs and came back up, and where the menu is, right down the bottom, there's a little circle with a controller picture in it. And I clicked on it, and guess what it does? It lets you play with a controller. So there's still no invert, which is frustrating. Yeah. But yeah, I'll go into detail in the review, but it's a bargain basement shooter that's made, I think, with a lot of love, and I'm quite enjoying it. It's a little bit frustrating, but I'm quite enjoying it. So I think I'll play that one. I don't think it's very long, and it's like 4 hours or something, but I'll play through that, and it's got some very Rick and Morty-esque humor in it.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I also enjoy. So yeah, we'll do that. So I did manage to get a couple of hours in that in. Yeah, and I think that's about it gaming wise. So we do need to get on some more multiplayer when you're feeling a bit more up to it, and I'm feeling a little bit less tired, which we will do. We've got Baldur's Gate to crack on with, Split Fiction, which is still finished, and some more Helldivers 2. I've now installed the PlayStation 5 firmly in my office on the monitor properly now, so I've got a space to retreat to play it whenever we need to. I
saw a story today, funnily enough, that was initially going to be a free-to-play game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which you wonder
wasn't for me.
No, it was going to be a free-to-play game. So yeah, what could have been, I guess, if it was, would it have been as successful?
I don't know.
Which I know sounds funny because you think it's free-to-play, but we know then it becomes games as a service, doesn't it? Which
one of the things I love about that game is although it is monetized to a fashion in terms of you can pay for cosmetics and war bonds and stuff. One of the things I love about it is you don't need to. You can progress through just, enough to keep up with the pack, which I think is wonderful. And I know the developers were very conscious of that as they were building it. Speaking to a friend of mine who plays it a lot, he was actually voicing frustrations at some of the latest patches and stuff they brought out that have made it a little bit janky. He's a PC player, and actually there's been some news, I haven't included it this week, but just about how some people are now saying it's almost unplayable on PCs because of some of that, which is a little bit disappointing to hear. But, I think it depends what you're going into. If you're going in to contribute to the war effort and do all of these things, I think that's where some of the bugs are. And as we know, we go on just to blow each other up. So, it's
not there, not there. Or not,
No, exactly that. So we just have a bunch of fun with it. Good. All right. Shall we crack on with a little bit of news? Let's do that, shall we? So let's start with just I'll just very briefly cover some of the game releases that have come out. And I've only really got 4 titles. There's plenty more, but these are some of the biggies. So I think last week we had Silent Hill F dropped. So some very good reviews. So that looks like another polished addition to the Silent Hill franchise. And I think at the moment it's currently sitting higher and sold more than the Silent Hill 2 remake by Team Bloober, which is quite an achievement. Yeah, it's weird. I was reading a few of the reviews and they were all saying pretty much the same thing. Brilliant atmosphere, great main character, great development, shit combat. That was basically the thread of all of them. So I'm like, it depends what you're after. And I don't know how heavily the combat plays into it. So, it'd be unfair to comment, but, all the reviews are really glowing for it. So, which is positive. And I know it was one you wanted to pick up, right?
I will eventually, because I do love the Silent Hill games. And it's funny, isn't it? I keep saying I don't like horror games, but there's some of my favourite ones, which is weird. Yeah.
It's strange, isn't it? I mean, a lot of the stuff that we or have discussed and stuff, I know you've been on other podcasts and discussed and things like that, things like Dead Space and, which are intrinsically survival horror games, Resident Evil, it's weird.
I think they've all got, like, the ones I really enjoy, they've all got that good story. I think all the reason, like Silent Hill 1 and 2 especially.
Yeah, Alan Wake.
Yeah, Alan Wake. I think the first Dead Space especially out the 3. So I think I like something that's got that story and I think I think they all have,
Yeah, cracking games. The next one actually is the sequel to one we just mentioned, which is Hades 2. So that came out of early access actually on version 1.0 and launched on Switch and PC, not out on Xbox and PlayStation, but Hades is out on Game Pass, I noticed, which is a bit of a lead in, I think. So maybe expect some good things from that in the future. Hades was a cracking game. I love that game. Really good. Played it a lot. So I haven't picked up Hades 2, but I'm quite excited to, and I might pick up on the Switch too and give that a go. He says, I've not played any of the other games he's got, but it is very much because of its roguelike progression system and things. It is one of those games you can kind of pick up and play for a couple of rounds and then go, I've died. I'll put it down and come back later. Character switch up on this one, so you're more of a witch type with kind of casting and things like that, which changes the game dynamic. Read an article today though, a couple of people, there's a true ending you can discover, which a couple of people were frustrated, and no spoilers here, but frustrated with the ending and didn't really wrap up the story in a satisfactory way. So it'd be interesting to find out what the general opinion is once it's had a broader play and people feedback. Next up, we've got EA Sports FC 26, the artist formerly known as FIFA, I believe. Which is weird because we haven't. Yeah, I know, another one. They don't do that very often. It's almost like a birthday every year. Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about. Normally, you hear quite a bit about the FIFA when it was called FIFA. You did, but now it seems to have gone quiet.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, probably the last couple of years I've gone off FIFA anyway. Well, EA Sports, whatever it is, FC. But I've not seen much about it. Normally you see a few adverts on the TV. Even it's one game that often in the supermarkets they will still put like the old display out the front. It's
almost like they're embarrassed by the name now. They haven't got the FIFA branding. So
maybe don't know. It's like spend £180 on shopping to get £10 off the game or something.
Like petrol.
Let's not go back there.
I mean, those vouchers we used to do for Tesco with the tills. God.
Oh, man,
Tried to blank that out.
But so it's interesting. It's interesting because I do remember like that and the old PES, the Pro Evo, it used to be that yearly battle, but then I think Pro Evo went free to play a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago now.
See, you wonder what's going to happen with this. But there's a story coming up later which might have even more of an impact. So
I believe so. Yeah, and we've got different opinions on that. So we'll see how that goes. And then the final one was one just from, I guess a couple of weeks ago's release was Dying Like the Beast. Obviously, it's come out, and again, I think it's had relatively good reviews. It's obviously a sequel to a sequel, but obviously a sequel to the first game rather than a sequel to the sequel. There's too many sequels in there. So you play the character returning from the first game who's been experimenting on for 13 years. You thought you'd got the hint. Comes back now with some new abilities revolving around a beast mode and, ripping zombies to bits and stuff, but still similar gameplay loop of nighttime, double XP, you know. So, and I love that game. I love the first one. I love the second one. So it'll be interesting. I think that a lot of the feedback, the negative feedback from the second game, has been taken on board, and they've kind of gone back to, although gunplay features more heavily in this one.
So, sorry, I've just been, because they do look like fun games. I've never really played them, but you got me thinking. So it's a sequel to the prequel, but a prequel to the sequel, even though it's actually a sequel to the sequel of the prequel.
Yes, and I don't think AI could have put that any better, Dan. That was quite incredible.
There you go. Yeah. It was just
your brain's working at least. I mean, your leg might not be, but
I clearly did hit my head then.
I've just noticed your little knees thing on the back. It looks brilliant, by the way. I love that. That's really good.
I thought, what do I draw today? News.
The world's longest newspaper. It's brilliant. I really like it.
Who reads
now
a
you're going to
newspaper?
have to explain what newspapers are to people.
It's the internet, but on paper. That made your. I was going to say that made your fingers dirty, but let's.
There's different podcasts.
Or you used to get your fish and chips wrapped up in them. Sorry.
That is what happens with it now, I think. I don't know where they get the newspaper anymore.
No, you can't do that. Health and safety.
Oh, no.
Couldn't do that for years. Yeah.
Couldn't do that. No, you're right. Health and safety gone mad.
Yeah.
I used to like fish and chips from newspaper.
Yeah.
Shows our age.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Before we go on, I will just point out, please do like and subscribe to the podcast. Doesn't mean a lot to you. It means the world to us. And it helps us every little bit. So, if you get the chance, click the button. And we'll be very grateful, and we'll give you a shout out, maybe.
Yeah, we've currently got 65 people on YouTube, which I think that's brilliant considering.
You're going to look back on that in a year and go, we got 4,000. Do you remember when we used to have 65? Maybe.
Well, I hope we're saying that. That'd be a great thing to say. Yeah. So
that's all the people unsubscribing you can hear now.
Yeah, start clicking now. Yeah.
So let's move on to another big piece of news, which was actually finally, it's been rumbling around for a week or so, but finally EA came out and confirmed that they are entering into a leveraged buyout deal. Here's where we do the boring Star Wars crawl about taxations and things. But this is rumored to be, or will be, one of the biggest leveraged buyout deals in history, registering about 50 billion. And we talked a lot in the past about the value of the video games industry and how big it is. And if you look at some of the deals that have been done recently, Microsoft buying out who they've bought, Activision, and the amount of money that gets thrown around in these circles, and you can see how much value these things actually hold. So 50 billion. This is one of the largest private equity firms. This is Silver Lake and Saudi Arabia in particular, who are kind of entering the money, and there's some money from one of the banks is financing some of the deal as well. And Jared Kushner, so one of Trump's son-in-laws, is entering into this. So I know you had some thoughts on what that might mean, and
No, I've been thinking about this more because we briefly said it by text today, and all I'm going to say is I think it's going to be interesting, right? Because look, we're gaming views, right? We're not political views. So there's a very political thing attached to this, right? Yeah. So if we put that aside for now, it's going to be a private company, isn't it? It's going private. So the whole argument has always been, well, most game companies are listed, so they've got shareholders. So, this is why we get the crunch. This is why we get badly released games and things like that. So them going private, could we see them maybe taking more time to build the games they want? But conversely, we know that they've paid, like you said, a lot of money for this. And what's the quickest thing to do? Just churn stuff out to start making money back, right? So no, when I said to you, could it be something different? It's more the fact they're going private. I thought that was really interesting, and I wonder what that might mean. But what I will say is people have criticised EA for years, right? So now they've been taken over, and we'll see what, people have almost got a wish in that EA won't be the EA of old, and we'll see what that means now.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, these private equity firms, shareholders, no shareholders, they still want a return on investment, right, at the end of the day. And we've seen it happen time and time again where PE firms have bought out companies, sold off assets, stripped them of assets, sold them off, and then left the rotting carcass, right? And we've seen it in big businesses, retail businesses, all sorts. So, we know this behaviour happens. So it'll be interesting what value they've seen, because I think the share value, they put a 25 or 30% bump on the last listed share value, or the one that was the highest back a couple of weeks ago when they made the offer, and that was at 30% on top of it. So it's a gilded offer. I mean, it looks very handsome, and hence the amount of money that's going to be floating around. My concern is just that approach will be, well, do they then move to how do we make this more profitable, which is your first step. And for me, that just means that, I can't remember how I termed it to you, but more AI slop and, more rushed games and things like that. So that's my concern, because I think a lot of these people who don't understand the passion of gamers and how we love to play and what we love to play and how long we're willing to wait for something to come along to be brilliant, they just go, well, they're just a bunch of kids who want games, so let's just churn out the next fortnight. And that's not to say those aren't good games that people enjoy playing, but when it's something rushed to market, because you can't, we've seen those things fail time and time again because they think they can squeeze money out of them. And that was my concern. And that, it's not a political thing. It's not, no. I just worry that that's what's going to happen. And mainly because it's not just EA, it's BioWare, Mass Effect, all the brilliant stuff they do, the damage that could be done to them. Now, the current CEO has basically come out today and said it's not going to change how we do things. We're still going to operate autonomously. So all of these things that everyone always says when it happens, like when Microsoft bought Activision, it's not going to change anything. Nothing's going to happen. And then 4,000 redundancies later, it worries me that a great publisher with great developers under its belt could go to the dark side of the force. That's all.
And that's a really interesting thing to wait and see. So so just like I said, when I said political, I just know there will be people out there that will criticise this because of that element. And I'm thinking, look, if we're looking purely from a gaming perspective, I think it's clearly too early to see. But I'm like you, in my heart, obviously, you want it to be okay, because EA, for whatever people have said, they are probably, like you said, if not the biggest, one of the biggest sort of publishers out there, right? Oh, yeah. And let's just see. I think, that's all I'm going to say. Let's just see. Obviously Mass Effect, I've got a vested interest in that. I want that to happen. Are they going to look and save some of the games that are in production, or some of the companies they don't see that being profitable or not? It's going to be in their plan. Are they going to shut a load of things down? AI, I have seen touted around. Like I said, EA have been the villains of many people for many years, and being publicly listed has always been touted as an excuse. Let's see what the next 6 months. Well, there's going to be more, but let's see what sort of 6 months plus brings. Yeah,
I mean, it's got to have shareholder approval, and it's got to go through CMA, so the Competition Markets Authority, to make sure there's no underhanded dealings, etc. A lot of these deals did, like with Microsoft, and give people a chance to complain or counter. So I don't think it's likely that this will come into fruition until, I think it's mid next year.
But I know
the Microsoft one took forever, didn't it? So.
Yeah. Sorry, I know you said it's been around for a while, but for most people, and I'll admit it myself, kind of really only bubbled up yesterday, and it seems to have been done. Well, like I say, it's not complete, but it's kind of been agreed quite quickly. So it's come as a bit of a shock, I would say, probably to a lot of people. I don't think there'll be any complaints on the shareholder side. Not from the Saudi Arabia group, I think owns. Is it Saudi Arabia? I'm sure it's Saudi Arabia. It is, PIF.
They own, so they own. I think they already have a 10% or 20% share already. So I think they're not going to get any complaints from those guys. So I think I read about something about it either the beginning of last week or the week before. I think it was the beginning of last week. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah. And the next piece of news I have is an interesting one. So there's now been a coordinated lawsuit filed in California for 100 separate lawsuits around video game addiction, which was, so the litigation is against a number of really big companies. So I've got the list here. So it's Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard, Roblox, Mojang, Epic, Rockstar, Apple, and Sony. And I think that pretty much covers almost anything you'd release a major game on, in, or from, because you've got things like Minecraft in there. You've got, Roblox. I mean, I'm not sure about addiction. I think things should just die a death. But there's lots of big companies and big names in there. And this is the first time they've pulled together this, it's over 100 video game addiction lawsuits in the state of California. Yeah, it's around, let's have a look, I'll just quote. So plaintiffs argue that these companies consciously employed behavioral psychology, patented algorithms and manipulative monetization tools, including loot boxes and microtransactions to addict minors and maximize in-game spending. The core claims assert negligence and strict liability based on the failure to warn users about products' addictive potential and the absence of sufficient parental controls or age verification. And when you frame it like that, I can't really disagree. Right? I'm not sure. Video game addiction to me doesn't really cover it. It's kind of, you're burying the headline. This is about kids not understanding the impact of what they're getting into.
Yeah. It's not, and I want to use the term, it's more the predatory practice within the games rather than the video game addiction. Because at first, when I saw this, I thought, goes back to kind of what we were saying last week, they're seeing games as a kiddie pastime. But I thought, and again, not having kids, I don't know, but I thought these games I thought there was parental controls in the systems and games.
They have. And for those people who care to look at them, I think it's fine. I mean, I know because I'm a gamer and because I'm a conscientious parent when it comes to what I want my kids playing, how much screen time that I want them on. And I look at things like this and, you talk about predatory behavior, the kind of paedophiles and things like that online that we know exist and that, the things that do happen. So I look into it and take it very seriously where the kids are concerned. But I can see how anyone not even with an ounce of thinking about it could just go, I'll just sign them up for it. And in fact, no parents who have done that and just signed them up and gone, they can chat to who they want. Yeah. You just click through. Yeah, it's fine. And don't even bother with parental controls. Yeah. So it is very easy to do without fair warning.
It's a difficult one. And and again, just clarify when I meant predatory by the companies in terms of like,
I know what you meant. I just meant there are.
No, just in case anyone, we've had our own thing. What was it? Feels like it's probably about 10 years ago now in our own government here and in Europe with the loot boxes, with FIFA, it's been to court. I mean, on the one side, I want to say that these things should be in there for the people that can enjoy it responsibly. But having been into a FIFA Ultimate Team was their card game. I wasn't into that. Then I did get into that for a couple of years. And there is something about when you buy the pack, because it's all about presentation. You buy the pack and then they unpack it on screen. The players walk out. If you're getting a good one, there's all fireworks and stuff like that. And it's that, what is it, the endorphin? It hits that pleasure receptor. Do you know what I mean? And
same as the Pokemon cards. That kind of same thing, isn't it? What are you getting? Yeah, of course they do. Yeah.
And I'd be lying if that doesn't feed in the, I'll buy some more credits just so I can get one, another one, because I might get a better one. I didn't get Messi this time. I'll get him, and it's a fine line, isn't it, between having fun and gaming and / gambling responsibly. Yeah. But I guess should this be an element of gaming anyway?
I don't know. I think when I look at it, no. I think, look, there's a whole world of difference between going in with your last £5 and buying a pack of Pokemon cards and opening them up and I hope you've got something, and actually sitting playing a game where that can easily become something that you can do over and over and over again because your parents put their PIN number in or whatever. But we know that these companies do employ behavioral scientists. They do employ people who understand how this stuff works, psychology and, the psychology of addiction and how to get more out of people with bending the system to make sure that kids can do it. We know that they create these algorithms that, will generate content or, that is more appetizing to kids in conjunction with these things. So we know this happens, and we know it happens not just in the video game, but it happens in everything, even the food you eat and the marketing you see around that food is designed to make you want to eat more or do more. The crunch of a crisp and, all of this stuff is mad than what they employ to do it.
Crisps.
So you could, crisp, grab your favorite snack. But when you combine that with something for kids who notoriously have very little impulse control.
Yeah.
Because they just don't.
Do you know
you can see how it can mount.
Yeah. Sorry. And something you were saying, because I'm having that inner argument with myself again, because I was thinking, I don't see this necessarily standing up initially, I thought, because they're going to say, look, there are controls in there. Yep. There are controls on the systems you play on as well. So Xbox has got its own things as well. But But the majority of the games, I can't remember some of the ones you mentioned, like, you've mentioned Roblox, you've mentioned Fortnite, Minecraft, not exclusively. Before everyone shouts at me, I know adults play them too.
Yeah.
But kids probably are focused, especially Fortnite, right? So why have you got this mechanic in there that they're going to see? So, it's that, and you've said yourself, your daughters have asked you a couple of times, can you get some Robux? And that's why I was thinking in these games or the game modes that are primarily, we know the majority of the audience is possibly kids. Should these even be in there?
It's interesting. My daughter loves all this game, but actually I said to her, there was, I was reading an article, I think it might have been a Eurogame or something like that, but basically there's a game called, I think it's called Wobbly World, and it's basically it's basically a kid's GTA without kind of the graphic violence and the whole mechanic really starts with you as a character, designing your character, much the same as you would in Roblox or in the end of the game. There's no monetization. There's nothing like that. Everything you get, you have to earn, and you earn through doing jobs. So you're learning self-worth. You're learning the value of money. You're learning that things don't come for free. And she loves it because it doesn't patronize her. It treats her like the age that she is and that she wants to be, that kind of tween age. And she's really enjoying it. And so now it becomes, rather than, can I go on? I mean, I don't mind her on Fortnite because she never really asks for it. She doesn't do anything, but it beats Roblox, hand over fist. And there's a whole floor around Roblox at the moment in terms of parental controls and and there's multiple lawsuits going on, not on this one around addiction, but around, kids who've been preyed upon and things like that. Yeah. So there's lots of stuff going on around that, so the further away she is from that content, the happier I am. So now it doesn't become, can I go on, Brookhaven or whatever it is she's playing on there, or Adopt Me. It becomes, can I go on Wobbly World or Wobbly Life or whatever it's called? Yeah. And she really enjoys it. And I think, there's none of that in there. So your point about does it belong in there? You can clearly create a game that doesn't patronize kids, that is built with and for them, that includes none of that, and they can still enjoy.
Yeah. I guess the hard thing is, though, they will always want to play the games that
their mates,
the mates of the older kids are playing, and let us know if you're listening, watching to this, because we've said last week, gaming has become a fine line between us old uns like us now, and the young uns, and it's trying to, we said it's trying to find its feet, and there will be some people that are saying, "Oh, shut up," let me buy my FIFA packs and stuff because I'm having fun, and absolutely, but let us know. Yeah,
it's mad, but big old lawsuit in the US now combining. I mean, we know they're I think they're bred to sue people over there. I think we were taught at school how to raise a lawsuit. So, right. So the next bit I had was just around I could call it the subscription content war, but it's not really a war. But we've lost the console war now, Dan. So we just have to call it something.
That's always stirring.
So Xbox added a couple of strategic titles this last few weeks. So we know they have Call of Duty on lockdown. So they've released Modern Warfare 3. So those people who didn't get the opportunity to play it when it came out years ago can now go on and play that. And also Big E on day one, which we haven't talked about a lot on here, mainly because I'm not a massive fan. I do mean to get around to playing it, and you probably went on your Steam Deck now. And that's Hollow Knight Silksong. So that came out as a day one release on Game Pass, which was big. And then PlayStation countered with boosting their kind of more high prestige catalogue for PlayStation owners with Last of Us Part 2 coming out, which is a cracking game, to be fair. So they've got that coming out. I think it's 26, it has just come out on 26th. So it's interesting to see how they're balancing them, and there's a little bit more on subscription services and what's coming out across platform and things in a little update as we go through the shows, which is interesting. So, but I just thought it was interesting that we're seeing some more of these. Xbox are brilliant at day one releases and getting hold of some of these games that are riding the current wave of or trend of, popularity, like Silksong, whereas PlayStation still very much sticking to their back catalogue of really good single player narrative game, which, I love and are great games. Having played all the Last of Us, I really enjoyed them. But it's interesting. I am tempted to go back and play that again as well now.
Yeah, I would just like to ask them to reduce their prices on Steam a bit, because apparently they hold their prices quite well on Steam.
Yeah. So was that PlayStation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Their PC ports are notoriously expensive.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. The next one, the next few are more around pricing more than anything. So first off, the PC gaming hardware is having a bit of a boom at the moment. So the hardware market for PC gaming, and I know that GPU cards are expensive and stuff, but they've recorded exceptional growth up till August this year. And this is an increase of 35% year on year. So this is up to 44.5 billion in PC hardware. I mean, they could almost buy EA for that.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And that's expected to remain above 40 billion through 2030.
Wow.
Which is mad.
Wow. Yeah. But again, it's just the whole thing in gaming, though, we said, right? It's
worth so much money.
Yeah.
It's worth so much money. And, it's funny how every time you read a story about something that's happening with a number attached to it, it's always in the billions when it comes to gaming now. It's always.
It's crazy.
It's so mad.
Because, PC as well, you don't have to, obviously, but you've got to change every 18 months, right? If you come on.
Look, and I think some of this is driven by moving to Windows 11, so keeping up with the changes in the hardware and, moving across. And, so people have had to upgrade moving past Windows 10. It's not supported anymore. So there's that side of it. But the demand of modern gaming on hardware is such that my gaming rig that I bought not 2 years ago is now, there's not much point in me trying to play anything past last year.
Yeah.
Which is mad. Like having to, churn year on year, and that Moore's law of, turning things around every 6 months, or the evolution of, PC hardware.
And that's the other thing. Sorry to go back to the Steam Deck, because there'll be people out here, they know who they are, kept saying to me to get a PC, but I was never going to spend the money on a PC that is going to play anything probably that's come out this year, right? So, totally. So that's why I kind of went on to that, and I think that's the thing about PC gaming, right? And like I said, you don't have to spend thousands, right? I know you don't, but at some point you're going to have to spend some, right?
Well, the minimum specs only ever go up and up, right? And if you want to play something at 30 frames a second and in 720, that's fine. But a lot of people want to want that 1080 experience. They they want to play at 60 frames a second or 120. My rig, the frustrating thing about mine, I'm sitting there going, well, I could upgrade it. And I'm looking at the card. The card I've got is the maximum card I can put in it. So if I want to upgrade it, I'm basically buying a new PC. I've got to buy a new motherboard and, so I'm not.
Well, I'm just laughing because I had a flashback when you said that about the specs. Like, so I was a PC gamer 24 years ago now, sort of 2000.
DOS.
No, I think I was past that. It may have started in it. Anyway,
Monkey
that's
Island.
not the point. Yeah, that's not the point. 11 discs. And that's not the point. So my wife keeps saying that. It was always funny because I was getting to the point where I didn't want to upgrade. I couldn't, like you said, upgrade the PC I had. And I'm like spending ages in the shop while she's staring at me, poring over the back of a box at the minimum specs. And I can't even meet the minimum specs of this put out there. And do you remember, because you'd get the recommended, the average, I can't remember what they called it.
Recommended specs.
The higher the recommended and the lowest specs. And I was generally, the PC was struggling on the low end specs. And that was the time I knew.
It's always a sad day, isn't it? And that's the beauty of console gaming, I think, is you can very easily step into a console and know that something's going to, unless it's Borderlands 4, that something's going to work.
Turn it off and on.
It's going to be fine, but you can turn it off and on again. Right. The next one is just a little bit about our favourite console maker. There's no favoritism, but that is around the Microsoft price increases. So this is their second increase this year, and stunningly puts the price of I had it written down somewhere here because I do research. So the standard Series X goes up to $649.99. This is dollars, which is only $100 less than a PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah, okay.
And the 2 terabyte Galaxy Edition goes up to $799.99, which is $50 more than a PlayStation 5 Pro. Never even heard of the
Galaxy Edition.
Yes, this is their. Is it the all black? It's all black or all white? I can't remember. But 2 terabyte Series X. Okay. So it's just got a bigger. Nothing else has changed.
2 Call of Duty games and that.
Yeah, you can have 2 Call of Duty games on this one, Dan, and nothing else. Yeah, $799, $800 for a console that is less powerful than the market leader.
See, this is worrying now as well, because I know, like you said, I know it's dollars, but we're getting to the point now where I'm going to probably have to bulk even to get a new console.
Yeah.
If we're talking that,
they can't trade in a game anymore, can you?
Well, yeah. Like if say my Xbox goes tomorrow, and you're telling me I've got to pay let's say 600 here, I'll be wincing at that.
Well, you do what I did and you pretend that something fell on the HDMI port and get your insurance to pay to send you a new one.
Allegedly.
I didn't do that.
No, that's just hypothetically. Yeah, no, cut. Yeah, it is getting expensive, isn't it? It is getting expensive.
It's the same
$70 game, $80 games.
And it's the same old bullshit excuse. It's macroeconomics, or it's Trump's tariffs, or it's like, look, and there is a little bit, we'll talk a little bit about the Asus ROG a little bit later. And there is a little bit around what they were trying to do, which led to the delay in the pricing, which we'll come to. But so I know that it is constantly playing on the minds of some of these, it's not all predatory and trying to make more and more money. And I can understand how, the current market, especially, working in a retail business, you can see how these things are affecting trade, particularly between the UK and US. So I get it, but you're almost at a point where you're pricing yourself out of the market. And I know we've talked about this, and we're kind of like, are Microsoft even that bothered anymore? Because their skin in the game is really around Game Pass and the subscription modeling, and buying these developers and the developers and publishers to actually start making the money off the software, not the hardware. Right. And there's a lot of that in the press around it. This is an Xbox being the kind of main campaign, stopping focus on their main handheld and handing it over to Asus. All of this kind of moves is, are they even that bothered? And there's some announcements that came up in the Sony State of Play that make you think maybe they don't really give a toss anymore. No. So are they that bothered that they put their price up and price themselves out? I don't know.
Yeah, but then I would argue, surely, sorry, I'm arguing with myself and what you just said, because I'm thinking then surely just put the hardware down, don't put the hardware up, get people continue to buy into your ecosystem, because a lot of people probably still won't necessarily have Game Pass on the PC or on the TV or whatever. So why put the console up unless you're trying to drive people away? It's because it's like, to me, it's like the ROG, which I think UK based is actually quite reasonable compared to we're not being shafted with the exchange rate, it feels like once. But, it's quite telling that Steam dropped the price of the LCD Steam Deck, literally a few days, it feels like, after. Yeah,
totally.
And it just shows that, the entry now is going to be the barrier to entry, as it always has been, I guess, is the price. So why not try to attract? If Xbox say, right, we're going to sell the ROG for like £500, the amount they're going to shift, right? And then they've got, again, that captured audience, right? That captive audience. But I'm not an economist, and that's probably why I'm saying things like that, right? So
no, but you're right. The markets only ever go one direction, right? Nothing today is ever cheaper than it was, 10 years ago, or Freddos and Chomps. That's all I'll say, right? None of it's none of it's cheaper, right? But it's never going backwards. Yeah. So it's always going to be more expensive. I think it's just shocking to see Microsoft kind of go, but if you want the most expensive one, which is a little bit more shit than the other most expensive one that Sony put out, or a lot more shit, depending on who you read, we'll sell it for more. It felt like a real dumb move.
Yeah.
But like you, I'm not a market analyst, and I'm not the finance team from Microsoft, thank God, either, or from Xbox.
I just want Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft to send us. That's what I want. I want it free.
And that is the best price ever. Just free, and we'll happily comment on them. Not
give you our gaming views on them.
Yes, I know you've got a news piece that I didn't research, and I should have done, about Bowser.
Yeah, just very quickly, it is, and I'm just going to bring this story over because it does make me laugh as well. It was announced, I think, a couple of days ago that the Nintendo of America president and COO, Doug Bowser, will retire from the company on the 31st of December. He's going to be succeeded by Devon Pritchard, who she joined the company in 2006. So, been there for a while. But, it's just, we've sung their praises a lot, haven't we? Nintendo on here. But it's just, you know, the name is just brilliant, isn't it? If there was anyone that was ever destined to get a job like that, it's got to be someone who's called Bowser, right?
Oh, Bowser. Yeah.
Yeah.
The bad guy. I reckon he changed his name by default.
Maybe, but yeah, and I guess, you know, on another point we've mentioned with EA, it's like it's always interesting because I know Nintendo obviously have got such a strong company philosophy and culture. Yeah. But, you know, someone who's been there, you know, he's only been there 10 years, but, you know, whenever there's a change at the top, you always, I guess the market is always watching, isn't it? So it'll be interesting to see what the next sort of stage is.
I read another interesting article. I'll put links for these in, but I read another interesting article from a developer who actually applied for a job at Nintendo and basically said, unless you are super confident that you are the creme de la creme of coding, there is no point applying for a job because their test, I think they have something like 6 rounds of tests, and he failed at test. And he's a really good, you know, he's got a, you know, he's a developer, you know, another software company, with a lot of great games behind him. And he's basically kind of said, you know, he got to round 2 and it was so hard and complex and watched and scrutinized that you're just never going to get him, which I just thought was incredible. But it does speak to the quality of the product that Nintendo first party studios put out. You know, look, they don't always hit the mark, but I would say more regularly than some of the other first party studios from, you know, and I'm talking about Nintendo specific products like your Marios and your Donkey Kongs, things like that. You know, the quality is always high and it's always well developed and it's always scores really well with the critics. So, right. I think that's it for news. Shall we move on
Which was going to be the quick 15-minute thing,
That was going to be the quick 15-minute thing. I apologise to those listening if you're still with us. Thanks for coming along on the journey. Right, I tell you what, let's do a whistle-stop tour of these because there's a lot in there. I'm just going to make a joke about being dead on your feet, but your foot hurts and I am dead on my feet.
And I was going to say, I'm shifting a lot in my seat because my back is killing me. So if you see me moving around in my seat, I apologise now to everyone. But yeah.
That's what editing's for, Dan. I'll keep that camera on you. It's fine.
You see me just go.
And then fall off his chair. And that'll be number 3. Right, so let's start with TGS. So this was Microsoft's attempt at exciting the crowds around what is coming out. So I'm going to whip through these, Dan. You can just give me I really don't care, or I'm quite excited about it. So we'll start with Forza Horizon 6. I know you've been a fan of Forza in the past.
I'm looking forward to that, especially in Japan. Yep.
Yeah, so this is set in Japan, day 1 on Game Pass, due to launch next year. We then have Ninja Gaiden 4, which showcase some gameplay and how they're stumbling through the difficulty settings options, which plague some of these more... I'm not going to say Dark Souls style action adventure RPGs, but, you know, particularly Ninja Gaiden's been quite hard in the past and known for it. So they've introduced some mechanics around that. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not really a ninja guy. That passed me. And once they start talking about difficulty settings as well, it's like,
Shinobi's your peak ninja. After that, you're not. Ryu Hayabasa can do
probably, but I know this didn't grab me. You know, and fair play to those who will, because it's probably a great game. But
I've played a couple of them, but I'm not sure I'd want to go back. And nothing on there was wowing me graphically or otherwise. We've got Blop 7, so COD, the new COD.
More Blop 7.
Excitingly, more Blop 7. Now Japan's set. It's almost becoming cultural appropriation, but everything's going, we're just in Japan.
Well, yeah, but this is what I was going to say to you. So I know you said, and you kind of alluded to it, that the Tokyo Game Show didn't wow you. And I just feel this is, again, kind of where Microsoft is going. And sorry, I'm going to sort of hijack this conversation in a sense of, I don't think Microsoft can ever wow us again because of now their multi-platform stance. But what they did do is, I think this was definitely, like you said, it's definitely aimed at winning over the Asian audience, because I think they said, obviously a lot of it was clearly Japan, but I think they mentioned there's a lot of studios like Chinese and Korean studios, I think they said at the start, that were showcased. I think that's what they are now trying. It's them trying to push their share. So I don't think, and I'm probably doing them a disservice, I don't think they can wow us anymore, can they? Because you're going to see everything you've probably seen. We'll have seen in another show, right?
Yeah, well, look, they're definitely playing to the market, right? So, you know, and I guess it's the right thing to do, because we did see at Summer Games Fest, Sony State of Play at the time and Microsoft's one, and we were unanimous in going, Microsoft's event,
That's true.
the E3 event that was far superior to the other two, with lots of exciting stuff in there. Again, playing to their known market, you know, with a bit of confusion thrown in there. Here's a Black Ops 7 trailer that looks like a really good game. Oh no, it's another Call of Duty. So I think they can. The Clockwork game just looked brilliant. You know, that came in and blew our socks off. So I think they can. I think this is more about playing to the market.
It's a love letter to the market, wasn't it? Yeah.
But it also feels a little bit patronising at times. I mean, going, oh, look, we've done some Japan set multiplayer maps in Black Ops.
Yeah, the Black Ops one felt really tenuous, and one later on felt really tenuous for me as well.
Forza, I totally get. Because they've done the UK, they've done Brazil, they've done, or Mexico, they've done, you know, so I get Forza, right? And even though I don't like car games, I always like seeing their trailers, and I love the work that Playground do Horizon, don't they?
Yeah,
do some amazing work.
But Forza as well, wherever they set it, it's like they do show love to the setting as well. So it's not just right, this game's now in Japan and we're just going to have races.
It leaked beforehand as well. So there was an in-running joke on some of the blogs I was watching. Yeah, that were going, oh, I wonder if they're going to announce Forza Horizon 6 in Japan.
Well, I think you had one of the WWE wrestlers. I think she said, oh, I'd love to see a Forza game set in Japan. And it's like literally a day or two before the show. So you're thinking,
all leaking and all, or maybe intentionally. A couple of Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2, so they're coming to the Xbox.
Not really
not my thing. No. And then the next one, which is number 3, Twisted Reflection, which we talked about before, is going to launch in March. This one I thought was interesting.
I love the look of this one.
Yeah, Gungrave G-O-R-E, or Gore. Cunning. Blood Heat. Yeah, so that looks like a reimagining. The series looks quite exciting. I did like. I mean, it was all a bit CGI, no actual gameplay.
But I've not played the original. What you've done there. Yeah, sorry, I've not played the original.
Me either.
But I love the look of it. Just that massive gun. That kind of reminded me of. At first, I thought it was a motorbike on the back, but kind of reminds me of the gun in Gears of War.
Yes. Yeah, the old chainsaw.
Yeah, but it looked fun. And that's kind of what I want. So, yeah, I'll look forward to seeing
If you can do half the moves you can do in that trailer, I'll be a happy boy.
But it was just great, wasn't it? Because he was like swinging around and the gun on his back was taking people out. And it's just, it just looks really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. See how that one goes down. A few JRPGs. So we got Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of 7. We got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remakes. I didn't come up with these names.
I like the look of those. And what I hadn't realised until I've just seen your note was that Romancing Saga 2 is shadow dropped. So,
okay.
But I like the look of those
because I wrote it.
Yeah, because you know I like my JRPGs. So yeah, I'm interested in that. Yeah.
I mean, it's no French JRPG, but
no,
it'll do, isn't it, until the sequel comes out.
Yeah.
We're not going to mention it by name anymore. Get too excited. We then got, I quite like this one because I played the original and I really enjoyed it, and that's Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. So I played the original. I think it was on PlayStation 2, I think. So they showed some gameplay from the remake of that. It looked quite good.
It looks proper creepy now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like creepy.
And this is the other thing. Sorry, I was thinking, I think horror games are the one genre where I don't mind them remastering or remaking, because the tech we've got now, you can do so much more to mess with the player. So yeah, this looked really good. Yeah.
Then we had just an announcement about a character from WS. Did you see this announcement where it started off as you're supposed to think it's an AI or whatever, and then she appears behind us as Gemma Chan, coming out as a new character, Dr. Selena Tan. That game, so the irony of 007, we haven't discussed it on here before, but we did an episode, please go check it out, that was kind of about cliches and tropes in video games.
Yeah.
And one of the things we talked about was exploding red barrels. And that game, if you watch the gameplay for 007 First Light, there's a section where he gets to the airfield and he shoots every single red barreled style thing in the vicinity. Everything explodes when he shoots it. He's got the most explodey bullets in the world. He shoots cars and they all blow up. He shoots there's these massive gas tanks, you know, that they have on airfields, like to refuel the planes. He's shooting it. Air fuel doesn't explode like that. It's designed not to, but he shoots it with a bullet. The whole thing was just going, and I was just, in my head, I was going, we only recorded that podcast the night before. It was just the epitome of exploding things.
The thing with me with this one is, and I know he's trying to keep it in the press, but it's like, we're now using these for character reveals. And look, nothing, you know, obviously, you know, Gemma Chan is a great coup to get her in the game, right? It's, you know, it's a great signing. Sounds like a football team. But it's
great
just,
signing. It's
just funny. We're now using these for character reveals rather than gameplay.
Weird.
Sorry. Yeah.
And nicely done. Speaking of which, character reveal for Hitman World of Assassination. Bruce Lee. A Bruce Lee themed mission. You're not killing Bruce Lee, but you're joining
it looks
up
like
with him.
It could be fun. But again, I'm tired of these events being used for like minor content drops.
It's just a weird. I don't know. I'm just not. I've been a big fan of Bruce Lee for years, and I have his book that I read many times called about the way of Jeet Kune Do and how his philosophy around this isn't about beating people up. This is about his philosophy around life and combat and how he designed his teachings, and he was an amazing guy. And I just think, what the fuck? Like he's now in Hitman World. I just bizarre. Wonder what he would say. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's bizarre, but it's more. I just find it funny when they do these minor content drops in announcements.
Strange. And then the last one that we had there was the Age of Mythology retold Heavenly Spear. Not for me. So the only other thing that came out during Tokyo Game Show, Microsoft obviously announced the pricing for the Asus ROG Ally X, which is coming in at $999.99 in the US or $799 in the UK. So tariffs again hitting the US purchases particularly hard. And $599 for the lower end Z1 model, so the Z2 Extreme is in the higher end model, and then $499 in the UK for that lower end one. So I was lucky enough to get a pre-order in for the $799. I've spoken about it before on here, so I'm quite excited about that coming along, just to see how it works and have a play with that and have something else to do. So it'd be nice to see be able to do a nice comparative between the Steam Deck and the stuff you're enjoying on that and the ROG Ally X and see how that goes. I'm a bit disappointed. Some of the previews and stuff haven't been super positive about it. So I'll be interested to see if I have significant buyer's remorse when that lands on the 16th of October, I believe.
Yeah, there's going to be firmware updates, etc. I think there'll be fun.
And I mentioned earlier that obviously the pre-order's gone live. And they took a long time getting that pricing out. And apparently behind the scenes, there was some wrangling from both ASUS and Microsoft that they were really, particularly for the US market, trying to subsidize the pricing of these things quite a lot to get to a price that was appetizing for customers. And that was probably helped by the fact that Lenovo obviously released their latest Z2 at quite a higher price, although albeit it has an OLED screen and it's it's a little bit fancier. So it probably helped that they were coming out at what was it, $1,300?
$1,300,
for theirs. So it's probably eased their move into that market a little bit, but yeah. So quite exciting times in the handheld side of things. So we'll see how that goes and how it's gone down. But a lot of the pre-orders are sold out, and you could barely get it anywhere for the Z2 chip. So whether they've just limited the number that are coming into the UK or what, but yeah, it was within, I woke up on the morning, saw the price and was like, jump online. And it took me a couple of hours to actually find one that I could buy. Thankfully not off of eBay. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right, let's move swiftly on to Sony and their showcase, which I actually quite enjoyed. And, we've always said, look, we're not partial to one console or another, and sometimes Sony have the good stuff and sometimes Microsoft have the good stuff, and it always seems to go that way. So let's just run through. The first one I think was very shocking, and the first thing I did when I saw this, and I knew I was watching it quite late, and I think I messaged you on it, was fuck me, Microsoft Flight Simulator on Sony. And I genuinely, I think I messaged you, we joke about it being the death of Microsoft as a hard, but I can't see it going anywhere else. It's got, and you said it's got the name in the title. It's mad.
Yeah, but I said to you, when you think about it, I said it's actually probably a no-brainer for Microsoft because it's not a system seller. No. And I think there's probably enough people that would want it. So, and again, it's, if you're playing it, what you're playing on your PlayStation this week? Oh, yeah, Microsoft Plane Simulator. It's all advertising, right? So probably makes sense. And it looks stunning. It does look stunning.
Yeah, I mean, they've done an amazing job with it because this is the last couple of updates. So it's 2020 and 24 all rolled into one with this Japanese world update because obviously it was around the 2GS. So again, Sony playing to their market. But yeah, just when I saw it, I was, because you start seeing the trailer and I'm sitting there going, am I watching the wrong thing? Because this looks like a Microsoft Flight Simulator advert. And then it was like, I was obviously a double take, and I was like, "Oh, this is." I'm watching.
But soon you're going to have Microsoft holding a PlayStation. This is an Xbox.
You joke. I don't know how far away we are from that world.
Yeah. Well, we're
Game
there.
Pass on
Sony. There, yeah, we're there.
I just, what I hope is it starts opening the door. I think I said to you, it starts opening the door for God of War on the Xbox. Or my God, if we could get, what a world we would live in.
Make it happen. Make it happen. Look at the camera. Make it happen.
Make it happen. Right. Fallout 76 shows off some community-created Japanese camps. Yeah, and a big thank you to the Japanese community. So I don't follow Fallout 76. I'm not really that fussed. I don't know how you felt about this
I've not got into it.
The next one I know you will have got into, and so
I like the look of this.
I thought you might. So this is Double Dragon Revive. I mean, how many times you can revive this series? I'm not sure. I'm not saying it's got a subtitle "Flogging a Dead Horse." No, it's not.
It just looked fun.
It does look like. Well, it's essentially a remake. It's not just a remake, is it? Because you can also play specific story missions for each of the dozen or so characters that you get in it. So there's bespoke content for each character as well.
Yeah, a couple of different modes as well. Like it's not a top-down one, but they look like there's a couple of distinct modes as well. So yeah, it's just co-op, isn't it? And it looks fun, and it's Double Dragon, so you know what you're getting.
We'll get it and give it a go.
Yeah.
You then had a World War II strategy game, which I'd never heard of, but apparently is on its 5th rendition, which is Sudden Strike 5. And I was like, 5?
Yeah.
Where have the other 4 been?
Not for me.
No, I wasn't really sure. You then had a shadow drop, which was Hotel Barcelona, which is the new sweary game, and was quite a funny. There was him playing and joined or attacked in the game by Suda51, who then basically said, "By Romeo's a dead man now."
Yeah, which we could have remembered a name last week, I think. Yeah.
It's fine. It's not Romeo Must Die. Stop confusing me, film studios and game studios, because it makes editing very difficult.
But the funny thing, sorry, about this one, it was very funnily done. Look, the segment itself was great, but I felt it didn't show the game, so I couldn't quite work out what the game. So it was a bad advert for the game, but a good advert for them. I thought it was funny.
It might have been by design, because by all accounts, some of the reviews that are coming out aren't super gracious about the game itself, so I'm kind of like, but it's a one and done fun thing, I think. Is the general comments on it. You then had one that kind of caught my attention and looked a bit odd, which was this Rhythm Doctor game that was all about hitting a rhythm, but you only hit one button for the entire game.
Just looked a bit too bizarre. Kind of game. Yeah, it just looked a bit too bizarre for me.
It did look a bit odd. You then had this game where they keep misspelling Pokemon called Animo. So this is a creature collecting RPG. You probably don't collect them with balls, probably cubes or something you throw at them, but it was another one that passed by. The next one looked quite interesting, but apparently was coming out of preview because other people had played it, apparently, which was Mistfall Hunter, which is like a third-person PvPvE extraction RPG. Oh my God, how many subtitles can they add to these things?
Didn't grab me. Well, it's just missing Souls-like, which initially that's what I thought it was when I thought it was as well.
But apparently it's an online mode thing. Yeah, I thought it looked quite interesting, but I'm TBC, because I've never heard of it before.
Don't add more to it. PvPvE, TBC, extraction
they're
RPG.
TLAs then, 3-letter acronyms. They're all TLAs. Then you had for people up here when they do these games they can't spell. Terminal Brigade. Which is an action roguelike looter shooter and free to play. Those words always send chills down my spine.
Looked fun, and then I hadn't clocked it was free to play. Yeah,
free to play and come into Game Pass, which everything that's free to play will eventually come to Game Pass and to PlayStation Plus. Sorry. Then you've got Winter Burrow, which was a cozy mouse survival game. How'd you put those names in the sentence together?
Looked cute. Not sure, but
yeah, it's still not sold. The next two, I can't even remember what they were. It was Stars and Island and Project Evilbane. Now, Project Evilbane, I think, was another RPG style.
Oh, did I see? I made a note of that.
I think it looked like. Do you remember there was that game that they talked about for a while, and it was coming out on the Xbox, and it was called Dragon something, and it was going to be this massive game, and they cancelled it.
Yeah, I found my note because having said I don't remember, I made a note and I've got this was the note I made. Now we're talking decent looking action filled 4-player co-op game. So I must have liked it.
Yeah, so again, I can't remember it completely, but I remember it being a kind of RPG joined by people online, and it looked okay, but it's very early in a very early kind of state.
Yeah,
and then we kind of get the biggie, which was the one that I'm, as a complete comic book nerd, so excited about, which was Marvel's Wolverine. With an official reveal of the gameplay, and then they did a kind of follow-up 6-minute trailer segment with Liam McIntyre being announced as Wolverine. I'm still not convinced that him playing Logan, but that's a by the by. The game itself
looks really good,
phenomenal, and as visceral and bloody, and as you want a Wolverine,
as it should be.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the the anti-hero of the along with the Punisher of the kind of Marvel universe, and the guy that you want to see tearing people to shreds and ripping them in half, and they've got the Reavers in there, and they've got Omega, and they've got some really good characters, Mystique's in there, so I think there's a lot of it, and the Mystique section actually looked a bit like gameplay, so I'm wondering whether you do take on Raven and play as her for part of the game. So super excited about that. The one I missed out obviously at the beginning of that section was the Saros, which is the spiritual successor to Returnal, built by Housemarque, who I think they're a Swedish or Danish studio there, but they do some phenomenal work. It's very. I played Returnal and I struggle with it a little bit because it's a bit Twitch gamey. It's all about avoiding lines of fire and kind of then getting your shots in, and I struggle with it because I'm not that good at it mainly. So but both of those they do look good. No doubt.
And they were definitely the standouts, right? Yeah,
totally. Another couple of honourable mentions I just put down here throughout. So you've got first look at the single player campaign for Battlefield 6, which looks more gritty and realistic. I don't know if you saw the trailer so the trailer came out for Battlefield 6 yesterday, and they had me in absolute stitches. So you've got famous people like Zac Efron and Paddy, MMA fighter, I can't remember his surname, and a country and western singer and an NBA player, all kind of teaming up with all their guns in, like cool shades and colours and things like that, and they're just about to announce who they are, and this missile just hits them and blows them up, and the real soldiers come in and go, "Who was that?" And he's like, "It doesn't matter." And then you go into those kind of gritty live action, which is just I thought was very funny.
Yeah, that's out the Nintendo book, isn't it? Not Nintendo, Sony book. It feels like, yeah,
totally. But really enjoyed that. Then we've got, in no particular order, we've got Neo 3. It's coming out in February. Code Vein 2. Which is, I never played Code Vein, but I heard good things about it.
Yeah, no, I like the original one. Yeah.
One which I've been excited about for a while, which is Crimson Desert, which is a spin-off from Black Desert, the MMORPG?
Yes.
This is the third-person action title, and there's looked quite good, and there's a few showcases you can find online for it with some of the combat, and it does look like it's quite a good game, although it could become quite complex in types of moves and stuff. One that you were excited about, I read an article that says sometimes a remake isn't always better, and that's the Deus Ex Remastered. Yeah,
I got really excited because I was watching this. I'd downloaded it and I was watching it on the train, and I saw it, and then I've subsequently seen articles. Now, I think it's a shame. I remember playing this years and years ago on the PC. It's such a great game, and it really deserves to find an audience again. And it just feels a shame if this can't hit the mark. But I'm still holding out hope.
Elon Musk's favourite game, apparently, as well. So you're in good company.
Well, yeah, well, it was one of I'll say original ones. Probably people would say it's about like the 10th generation since, but it felt like one of the first games where you could literally do anything in a mission, and it felt so open, and it was just a game that kind of blew my mind at the time. So yeah, I hope it can find an audience.
Fingers crossed. Then we've got Dynasty Warriors 3, which meh.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but not really me.
No.
This one looked weird and a little bit wonderful. So this was from the guys behind Disco Elysium, which has had, rave reviews and an amazing game. I started it, haven't got any further, but I absolutely have to pick it up. And that's called Zero Parades for Dead Spires, and looked very odd, very strange. Has combat by the looks of it in this one, which Disco Elysium famously didn't. And yeah, it just looked a bit mad. So I'll stick a bit of the trailer up on YouTube to watch because it looks a bit insane. Not as insane as Romeo
Must Die
is a Dead Man. No,
is a dead man. Oh no, I was trying.
Romeo is a Dead Man, but still. And I watched the gameplay trailer for that earlier because they've now released a combat trailer or a gameplay trailer for. It's only about a minute long. My God, it looks mad, and I can't wait to play that. Then Halloween the game, because we don't need another slasher. Online one plays as the hunted and the others as hunters, so that'll
look, it will probably be a good game. It might be a good game, but it just feels a real niche one, doesn't it? It's like once it gets past sort of like November, then people will just go back to that mode in.
They only bring it out once a year.
Yeah, Call of Duty. I mean,
31st of October.
Wasn't there there was a Friday the 13th one, right? A couple of years ago. So yeah, it's just odd.
And they all blur into one another as well because they all release the characters for other games, and
especially when a lot of games, even Call of Duty has kind of like got a hunted mode in there, hasn't it? Sort of thing. So yeah, well, it might take us by surprise.
Maybe, probably not. Last Epoch announcement. Never heard of it. Not bothered. Final Fantasy Tactics. Haribo. Final Fantasy Tangtastics, the Ivalice Chronicles, a new trailer, and is coming out tomorrow by my reckoning, 30th. So I think that feels like one you might end up picking up eventually.
Eventually, I can't quite remember this one because it's
I played it on mobile. It's I quite enjoyed it on the mobile for what I played with it.
I tend to like the mainline games in that rather than, but yeah, we'll see.
Let It Die Inferno, a roguelike follow-up to Let It Die. Never heard of it, never played it, so I don't know. Chrono Script, The Endless End.
I did love that. I did love that. That was great, yeah.
It's a 2D action adventure game.
The Final Fantasy that keeps on going, and The Endless End,
The Endless End of the End.
Yeah.
Enders. 7 Deadly Sins Origin. Oh, God, just no. And Sonic Racing Crossworlds. What a great way to waste money. Mega Man DLC. So the only other bits that were announced were the releases of the PlayStation Plus stuff that we'd already talked about, which is Alan Wake 2, Goat Simulator. Not Ghost Simulator, Goat Simulator, and Cocoon. Cocoon's great, by the way. You should pick that up. Great little puzzle game. Really enjoyed that when it came out. And then you've got a new Spec 3 update for Gran Turismo 7, and that's announced. That's coming in December. And then a couple of bits of hardware. So PlayStation had the God of War 20th Anniversary Limited Edition DualShock wireless controller, which basically looks like a white controller with a red flash across it. Yeah. You could probably pick up a tin of Umbro paint and a little paintbrush and do it yourself. I'm not suggesting you do that because you might break the controller, but you could do that. And the other ones, which looked interesting, but unfortunately I've already got a half-decent pair of PC speakers, were the Pulse Elevate wireless speakers for the PlayStation that tilt and allow you to play music in any direction you want, or play your game sounds in any direction you want, which looked quite nice. Quite a polished product, as Sony do. And that's it. I mean, it's taken a while to get through, but that was it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Stop.
I think obviously the Sony one grabs the headlines because of Wolverine. Totally. Hands down. But yeah, I mean, let's not pun intended, let it not fly under the radar, the Microsoft Plane Simulator, that going on to Sony. I mean, but there are some really good games in there. I mean, there's a handful in each one that I really like the look of, but yeah, and that's all we want, right? We just want more games, more good games, right?
Yeah, I think the only thing that frustrated me slightly is Microsoft had an opportunity to either reassure some players or demonstrate some, some movement on some biggies, things like Fable, that you could have, because they very much focused on the market that they were playing to for the TGS. I get that. So was Sony to a degree, but then they come and they go, yeah, but look, we've got games like Soros and we've got games like Wolverine, which aren't specific or bespoke to a market. Although you could argue that Madripoor, which is one of the locations in Wolverine, is a bit of a stand-in for, Japan, that kind of. Yeah. So, and he does have a history with Japan in the comic books as a pseudo samurai and things. So you could argue that point of it, but none of that was really leveraged in the trailer. It was all just about this kind of visceral gameplay experience. So Microsoft, there was nothing stopping them doing something similar, is my point.
Do we think this time next year we'll be seeing new hardware?
I think by this time next year, they will have announced the intent. Because I don't think you'll see it until 27.
Because I was just thinking that I think it's just, especially with Microsoft, it could be just buying the time. Like we said at the start, it felt like this was a real, we want to show the Asia market some love. We want, and it's always been the fact that they are so not underperforming, because that means they're not doing well, as in they're doing badly themselves, but they're underappreciated or undertaken up. I can't think of words. The market hasn't warmed to them.
You struggle.
My back, I'm in so much pain. They don't perform as well in that market. So this is really an attempt to say, look, embrace us. And I think in that respect, it probably did win. It probably made its mark because, they were showing, love to it, and getting the creators on. And it felt like a fun little presentation. But you're right. It didn't have anything really to combat what happened the night before with the Sony State of Play. But I think next year is where it make or break sounds dramatic, but where they'll have to do some big things. And look, the ROG Ally will have been out for almost a year then as well. So
yeah, we'll see how that goes. And obviously the rumours and rumblings around Sony and their potential handheld PS6 thing.
So it's just going to be handhelds. There aren't going to be consoles. It's just going to be handhelds.
It would be, it would be madness. But look, thank you for sticking with us, and particularly Dan for sticking with us, being in as much pain as he is. I'm still convinced you're just trying to outdo our friend David Turner from the Computer Game Show, who fell over a dishwasher and busted up his shoulder. You're just going, yeah, but I can do that in my leg. Don't worry.
I did that reaching for a letter. I've got worse injury reaching for a letter. So yeah, come back on, David. And
I'm sure he'd argue that you're much older.
Let's argue injuries, David. Come on.
Yeah, we've got to finish off the other questions we were meant to ask him.
Oh yeah, and you won't get slammed by this host either.
Nice. I see what you did there. But inverted controlling.
No, I've got to do that. I was just listening. I remember I said to you, I was listening to his episode that came out after he was on ours, wasn't it? And he was name checking us, and I messaged you saying, Dad, you've got to listen around like the 8-minute mark or whatever. And he goes, yeah, we talk about inverted controls, and I got slammed by one of the hosts. And you went, I didn't slam him, did I?
Slam him. It was quite polite.
Clearly you did.
Clearly I did. Straight from the horse's mouth on his podcast. I mean, we never lie on podcast. So that's right. PlayStation 7 launches next week. Right. I think that's it. You need to go and get some rest. I need to go and get some sleep. Our listeners need to switch off if they're still with us. Thank you for sticking with us. If you do still stick with us, please do like and subscribe on YouTube. We are very grateful for it. It means very little to you, but quite a lot to us. So thank you for that. Danny boy, anything else from you, my friend?
Just hello to everyone listening. I want to say hi to the Brain Trust. I want to say hi to the Podpack Collective. Hi, Joey and the Game Club Pod. Hi, Griffin, Reboot Deboot. He's a nice guy and a big fan of ours. And also, trying to work out, it would have been last week, Justin at the Movie Wise 200th episode went out. So congrats to him.
Justin.
So yeah.
Good man. All right. Lovely. Wonderful. Right. We will catch you next week on the next super exciting episode of Gaming Views. Ta-ta for now. Dan with a gaming flair, pixel dreams and worlds to share, joystick tales and button cues. Welcome to Gaming Views.